Yashar, Jasher, chapter 17. And in those days, in the 91st year of the life of Avram, the children of the Hittites fought against the children of Tuval. For when Yahweh had scattered the sons of men upon the face of the earth, the children of the Hittites went and established themselves in the plain of Canopia, and they built themselves cities there and dwelt by the river Tivreu. And the children of Tuval dwelt in Tuscana, and their boundaries reached the river Tivreu. And the children of Tuval built a city in Tuscana, and they called the name Sabina, after the name of Sabina, son of Tuval their father, and they dwell there to this day. And it came to be at that time, the children of the Hittites fought against the children of Tuval, and the children of Tuval were smitten before the children of the Hittites, and the children of the Hittites caused 370 men to fall from the children of Tuval. And at that time the children of Tuval swore to the children of the Hittites, saying, You shall not intermarry among us, and no man shall give his daughter to any of the sons of the Hittites. For all the daughters of Tuval were in those days lovely, for then no women were found in the whole earth so lovely as the daughters of Tuval. And all who delighted in the good looks of women went to the daughters of Tuval and took wives from them. And the sons of men, sovereigns and princes, who greatly delighted in the good looks of women, took wives in those days from the daughters of Tuval. And at the end of 3 years, after the children of Tuval had sworn to the children of the Hittites not to give them their daughters for wives, about 20 men of the children of the Hittites went to take some of the daughters of Tuval, but they found none. For the children of Tuval kept their oaths not to intermarry with them, and they would not break their oaths. And in the days of harvest, when the children of Tuval went into their fields to reap their harvest, the young men of the Hittites assembled and went to the city of Sabina, and each man took a young woman from the daughters of Tuval, and they came to their cities. And the children of Tuval heard of it, and they went to fight against them, but they could not prevail over them, for the mountain was exceedingly high from them. And when they saw they could not prevail over them, they returned to their land. And at the turn of the year, the children of Tuval went and hired about 10,000 men from those cities that were near them, and they went to fight against the children of the Hittites. And the children of Tuval went to fight against the children of the Hittites to destroy their land and to distress them. And in this battle the children of Tuval prevailed over the children of the Hittites. And the children of the Hittites, seeing that they were greatly distressed, lifted up the children which they had had by the daughters of Tuval upon the wall which had been built, to be before the eyes of the children of Tuval. And the children of the Hittites said to them, Have you come to fight against your own sons and daughters? And have we not been considered your flesh and bones from that time till now? And when the children of Tuval heard this, they ceased to fight against the children of the Hittites, and they went away, and they returned to their cities. And at that time the children of the Hittites assembled and built 2 cities by the sea, and they called one Pertu, and the other Arizah. And Avram, son of Terach, was then 99 years old. At that time Yahweh appeared to him, and he said to him, I will establish my covenant between me and you, and I will greatly multiply your seed. And this is the covenant which I make between you and I, that every male child be circumcised, you and your seed after you. At 8 days old it shall be circumcised, and this covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And now, therefore, your name shall no longer be called Avram, but Abraham, and your wife shall no longer be called Sarai, but Sarah. For I will berakah you both, and I will multiply your seed after you, that you shall become a great nation, and sovereigns shall come forth from you. Yashar, Jasher, chapter 18. And Abraham rose and did all that Elohim had ordered him, and he took the men of his household and those bought with his silver, and he circumcised them as Yahweh had commanded him. and there was not one left whom he did not circumcise. And Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised in the flesh of their foreskin. Ishmael was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And in the third day Abraham went out of his tent and sat at the door to enjoy the heat of the sun during the pain of his flesh. And Yahweh appeared to him in the plain of Mamre, and sent 3 of his ministering messengers to visit him. And he was sitting at the door of the tent, and he lifted his eyes and looked, and saw 3 men were coming from a distance. And he rose up and ran to meet them, and he bowed down to them and brought them into his house. And he said to them, "If I have now found favor in your sight, turn in and eat a piece of bread." And he pressed them, and they turned in, and he gave them water, and they washed their feet, and he placed them under a tree at the door of the tent. And Abraham ran and took a calf, tender and good, and he hastened to kill it, and gave it to his servant Eleazar to prepare. And Abraham came to Sarah into the tent, and he said to her, "Make ready 3 measures of fine meal quickly, knead it, and make cakes to cover the pot containing the meat." And she did so. And Abraham hastened and brought before them butter and milk, beef and lamb, and gave it before them to eat before the flesh of the calf was sufficiently done. And they ate. And when they had finished eating, one of them said to him, "I will return to you according to the time of life, and Sarah your wife shall have a son." And the men afterward departed and went their ways to the places to which they were sent. In those days all the people of Sedom and Amorah, and of the whole 5 cities, were exceedingly wicked and sinful against Yahweh, and they provoked Yahweh with their abominations. And they grew mightily in abominations and scoffing before Yahweh. And in those days their wickedness and crimes were great before Yahweh. And in their land they had a very extensive valley, about half a day's walk, and in it there were fountains of water and a great amount of greenery surrounding the water. And all the people of Sedom and Amorah went there 4 times in the year, with their wives and children and all belonging to them, and they rejoiced there with timbrels and dances. And in the time of rejoicing they would all rise and lay hold of their neighbors' wives, and some the maiden daughters of their neighbor, and they enjoyed them. And each man saw his wife and daughter in the hands of his neighbor, and did not say a word. And they did so from morning to night. And afterward they returned home, each man to his house, and each woman to her tent. So they always did 4 times in the year. And when a stranger came into their cities and brought goods which he had purchased with a view to sell there, the people of these cities would assemble, men, women, and children, young and old, and go to the man and take his goods by force, giving a little to each man until there was an end to all the goods of the owner which he had brought into the land. And if the owner of the goods quarreled with them, saying, "What is this deed which you have done to me?" then they would approach to him one by one, and each would show him the little which he took, and taunt him, saying, "I only took that little which you gave me." And when he heard this from them all, he would arise and go from them in sorrow and bitterness of being. Then they would all arise and go after him, and drive him out of the city with great noise and tumult. And there was a man from the country of Elam, who was leisurely going on the way, seated upon his donkey, which carried a fine blanket of dyed colors, and the blanket was bound with a rope on the donkey. And the man was on his journey, passing through the street of Sedom, when the sun went down in the evening. And he remained there in order to stay during the night, but no one would let him into his house. And at that time there was in Sedom a wicked man of evil plots, one skillful to do evil, and his name was Hadad. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the traveler in the street of the city, and he came to him and said, "From where do you come, and where are you going?" And the man said to him, "I am traveling from Hebron to Elam, where I belong. And as I passed, the sun went down, and no one would allow me to enter his house, though I had bread and water, and also straw and food for my donkey, and am lacking nothing." And Hadad answered and said to him, "All that you want shall be supplied by me, but you shall not stay in this street all night." And Hadad brought him to his house, and he took off the blanket from the donkey with the rope, and brought them to his house, and he gave the donkey straw and food, while the traveler ate and drank in Hadad's house. and he stayed there that night. And in the morning the traveler rose early to continue his journey, when Hadad said to him, "Wait, refresh your heart with a piece of bread, and then go." And the man did so, and he remained with him, and they both ate and drank together during the day when the man rose up to go. And Hadad said to him, "See, now the day is declining. You had better remain all night, that your heart may be refreshed." And he pressed him, so that he stayed there all night. And on the second day he rose early to go away, when Hadad pressed him, saying, "Refresh your heart with a piece of bread, and then go." And he remained and ate with him the second day also. And then the man rose up to continue his journey. And Hadad said to him, "See, now the day is declining. Remain with me to refresh your heart, and in the morning rise early and go your way." And the man would not remain, but rose and saddled his donkey. And while he was saddling his donkey, the wife of Hadad said to her husband, "See, this man has remained with us for 2 days, eating and drinking, and he has given us nothing. Now shall he go away from us without giving anything?" And Hadad said to her, "Be silent." And the man saddled his donkey to go, and he asked Hadad to give him the rope and blanket to tie it on the donkey. And Hadad said to him, "What are you saying?" And he said to him, "That you, my master, shall give me the rope and the blanket made with dyed colors, which you laid up with you in your house to take care of." And Hadad answered the man, saying, "This is the interpretation of your dream. The rope which you saw means that your life will be lengthened out like a cord, and having seen the blanket dyed with all kinds of colors, means that you shall have a vineyard in which you will plant trees of all fruits." And the traveler answered, saying, "Not so, my master, for I was awake when I gave you the rope, and also a blanket woven with dyed colors, which you took off the donkey to put them aside for me." And Hadad answered and said, "Indeed, I have told you the interpretation of your dream, and it is a good dream, and this is the interpretation of it. Now the sons of men give me 4 pieces of silver, which is my charge for interpreting dreams, and of you I only require 3 pieces of silver." And the man was provoked at the words of Hadad, and he cried bitterly, and he brought Hadad to Sirach, judge of Sedom. And the man laid his cause before Sirach, the judge, when Hadad replied, saying, "It is not so, but so the matter stands." And the judge said to the traveler, "This man Hadad tells you the truth, for he is famed in the cities for the accurate interpretation of dreams." And the man cried at the word of the judge, and he said, "Not so, my master, for it was in the day that I gave him the rope and blanket which was on the donkey, in order to put them aside in his house." And they both disputed before the judge, the one saying, "So the matter was," and the other declaring otherwise. And Hadad said to the man, "Give me 4 pieces of silver that I charge for my interpretations of dreams. I will not make any allowance, and give me the expense of the 4 meals that you ate in my house." And the man said to Hadad, "Truly, I will pay you for what I ate in your house. Only give me the rope and blanket which you laid up in your house." And Hadad replied before the judge and said to the man, "Did I not tell you the interpretation of your dream? The rope means that your days shall be prolonged like a cord, and the blanket that you will have a vineyard in which you will plant all kinds of fruit trees. This is the proper interpretation of your dream. Now give me the 4 pieces of silver that I require as a compensation, for I will make you no allowance." And the man cried at the words of Hadad, and they both quarreled before the judge. And the judge gave orders to his servants, who drove them harshly from the house. And they went away quarreling from the judge. Then the people of Sedom heard them, and they gathered about them and cried out against the stranger, and they drove him harshly from the city. And the man continued his journey on his donkey with bitterness of being, lamenting and weeping. And while he was going along, he wept at what had befallen him in the corrupt city of Sedom. Yashar, Jasher, chapter 19. And the cities of Sedom had 4 judges for 4 cities, and these were their names: Sirach in the city of Sedom, Sharkad in Amorah, Zebnach in Admah, and Menon in Zeboim. And Eleazar, Abraham's servant, appointed to them different names, and he converted Sirach to Sharkad, Sharkad to Shakruah, Zabnak to Kezobim, and Menon to Mazlodin. And by desire of their 4 judges, the people of Sedom and Amorah had beds erected in the streets of these cities. And if a man came to these places, they laid hold of him, and brought him to one of their beds, and by force made him lie in them. And as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head, and 3 at his feet, and measure him by the length of the bed. And if the man was less than the bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end, and when he cried out to them, they would not answer him. And if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end, until the man had reached the gates of death. And if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him, saying, "So shall it be done to a man that comes into our land." And when men heard all these matters that the people of the cities of Sedom did, they refrained from coming there. And when a poor man came to their land, they would give him silver and gold, and send a call in the whole city not to give him a piece of bread to eat. And if the stranger should remain there some days, and die from hunger, not having been able to obtain a piece of bread, then at his death all the people of the city would come and take their silver and gold which they had given to him. And those that could recognize the silver or gold which they had given him took it back. And at his death they also stripped him of his garments, and they would fight about them, and he that prevailed over his neighbor took them. After that they would carry him and bury him under some of the shrubs in the desert. So they did all the days to anyone that came to them, and died in their land. And in the course of time Sarah sent Eleazar to Sedom to see Lot and inquire after his welfare. And Eleazar went to Sedom, and he met a man of Sedom fighting with a stranger. And the man of Sedom stripped the poor man of all his clothes and went away. And the poor man cried to Eleazar and pleaded his favor because of what the man of Sedom had done to him. And he said to him, "Why do you act this way to the poor man who came to your land?" And the man of Sedom answered Eleazar, saying, "Is this man your brother, or have the people of Sedom made you a judge this day that you speak about this man?" And Eleazar strove with the man of Sedom because of the poor man. And when Eleazar approached to recover the poor man's clothes from the man of Sedom, he hastened and with a stone smote Eleazar on the forehead. And the blood flowed exceedingly from Eleazar's forehead. And when the man saw the blood, he caught hold of Eleazar, saying, "Give me my payment for having rid you of this bad blood that was in your forehead, for such is the custom and law in our land." And Eleazar said to him, "You have wounded me and require me to pay you your payment?" And Eleazar would not listen to the words of the man of Sedom. And the man laid hold of Eleazar and brought him to Sharkad, the judge of Sedom, for judgment. And the man spoke to the judge, saying, "Please, my master, so has this man done, for I smote him with a stone so that the blood flowed from his forehead, and he is unwilling to give me my payment." And the judge said to Eleazar, "This man speaks truth to you. Give him his payment, for this is the custom in our land." And Eleazar heard the words of the judge, and he lifted up a stone and smote the judge. And the stone struck on his forehead, and the blood flowed exceedingly from the forehead of the judge. And Eleazar said, "If this then is the custom in your land, give to this man what I should have given him, for this has been your decision. You decreed it." And Eleazar left the man of Sedom with the judge, and he went away. And when the sovereigns of Elam had fought against the sovereigns of Sedom, the sovereigns of Elam captured all the property of Sedom, and they took Lot captive with his property. And when it was told to Abraham, he went and fought against the sovereigns of Elam, and he recovered from their hands all the property of Lot as well as the property of Sedom. At that time the wife of Lot bore him a daughter, and he called her name Paltith, saying, because Elohim had delivered him and his whole household from the sovereigns of Elam. And Paltith, daughter of Lot, grew up, and one of the men of Sedom took her for a wife. And a poor man came into the city to seek a livelihood, and he remained in the city some days. And all the people of Sedom sent a call, as was their custom, not to give the man a piece of bread to eat until he dropped dead upon the earth, and they did so. And Paltith, the daughter of Lot, saw the man lying in the streets, starved with hunger, and no one would give him any matter to keep him alive, and he was just upon the point of death. and her being was filled with pity because of the man, and she fed him secretly with bread for many days, and the being of this man was revived. For when she went out to fetch water, she would put the bread in the water pitcher, and when she came to the place where the poor man was, she took the bread from the pitcher and gave it to him to eat. So she did many days. And all the people of Sedom and Amorah wondered how this man could bear starvation for so many days, and they said to each other, "This can only be that he eats and drinks, for no man can bear starvation for so many days or live as this man has, without even his appearance changing." And 3 men concealed themselves in a place where the poor man was stationed, to know who it was that brought him bread to eat. And Paltith, daughter of Lot, went out that day to fetch water, and she put bread into her pitcher of water, and she went to draw water by the poor man's place, and she took out the bread from the pitcher and gave it to the poor man, and he ate it. And the 3 men saw what Paltith did for the poor man, and they said to her, "It is you then who has supported him, and therefore he has not starved, nor changed in appearance, nor died like the rest." And the 3 men came out of the place in which they were concealed, and they seized Paltith and the bread which was in the poor man's hand, and they took Paltith and brought her before their judges, and said to them, "Thus did she do, and it is she who supplied the poor man with bread, so he did not die all this time. Now therefore declare to us the punishment due to this woman for having transgressed our law." And the people of Sedom and Amorah assembled and kindled a fire in the street of the city, and they took the woman and threw her into the fire, and she was burned to ashes. And in the city of Admah there was a woman to whom they did the same. For a traveler came into the city of Admah to stay there all night, with the intention of going home in the morning, and he sat opposite the door of the house of the young woman's father to remain there, as the sun had gone down when he had reached that place. And the young woman saw him sitting by the door of the house, and he asked her for a drink of water, and she said to him, "Who are you?" And he said to her, "I was walking on the way today and reached here when the sun went down, so I will stay here all night, and in the morning I will rise early and continue my journey." And the young woman went into the house and brought the man bread and water to eat and drink. And this matter became known to the people of Admah, and they assembled and brought the young woman before the judges, so that they should judge her for this deed. And the judge said, "The judgment of death must pass upon this woman, because she has transgressed our law, and this therefore is the decision concerning her." And the people of those cities assembled and brought out the young woman and rubbed her with honey from head to foot, as the judge had decreed, and they placed her before a swarm of bees which were then in their hives, and the bees flew upon her and stung her so that her whole body was swollen. And the young woman cried out because of the bees, but no one took notice of her or pitied her, and her cries went up to the Shamayim. And Yahweh was provoked at this and at all the works of the cities of Sedom, for they had a great amount of food and had peace among them, and still would not sustain the poor and the needy. And in those days their evil doings and sins became great before Yahweh. And Yahweh sent 2 of the messengers that had come to Abraham's house to destroy Sedom and its cities. And the messengers rose up from the door of Abraham's tent after they had eaten and drunk, and they reached Sedom in the evening. And Lot was then sitting in the gate of Sedom, and when he saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. And he pressed them greatly and brought them into his house, and he gave them food which they ate, and they stayed all night in his house. And the messenger said to Lot, "Arise, go out from this place, you and all belonging to you, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of this city, for Yahweh will destroy this place." And the messengers laid hold upon the hand of Lot, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hands of his children, and all belonging to him, and they brought him out and put him outside these cities. And they said to Lot, "Escape for your life." And he fled, and all belonging to him. Then Yahweh rained upon Sedom and upon Amorah and upon all these cities sulfur and fire from Yahweh out of the Shamayim. And he overthrew these cities, all the plain and all the inhabitants of these cities, and that which grew upon the ground. And Ado, the wife of Lot, looked back to see the destruction of the cities, for her compassion was moved because of her daughters who remained in Sedom, for they did not go with her. And when she looked back, she became a post of salt, and it is still in that place to this day. And the oxen which stood in that place daily licked up the salt to the end of their feet, and in the morning it would spring forth anew, and they still lick it up to this day. And Lot and 2 of his daughters that remained with him fled and escaped to the cave of Adullam, and they remained there for some time. And Abraham rose early in the morning to see what had been done to the cities of Sodom, and he looked and saw the smoke of these cities going up like the smoke of a furnace. And Lot and his 2 daughters remained in the cave, and they made their father drink wine, and they lay with him, for they said there was no man upon earth that could raise up seed from them, for they thought that the whole earth was destroyed. And they both lay with their father, and they conceived and bore sons. And the firstborn called the name of her son Moab, saying, From my father I conceived him. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. And also the younger called her son Ben-Ami. He is the father of the children of Ammon to this day. And after this, Lot and his 2 daughters went away from there, and he dwelt on the other side of the Jordan with his 2 daughters and their sons. And the sons of Lot grew up, and they went and took for themselves wives from the land of Canaan, and they brought forth children, and they were fruitful and multiplied.